When the ETS takes effect tomorrow, the sector that's going to be worst affected is our farmers. Their costs are poised to soar and they're not giving up their campaign against the scheme. Federated Farmers President Nicolson is with us this morning. Good morning to you. Fair to say it's a bit of a dark day for farmers tomorrow?
Well, it's been a long time coming. It's a long time coming for New Zealand because every New Zealander, every mum and dad is going to pay a new price out of their wage bill for meeting the commitment to the ETS tomorrow.
Talk to me about the campaign that farmers are now embarking on.
Well, it's a relatively low-level campaign initially, but we're saying that it's time for New Zealand to switch off the old system and switch on to something new, and that will involve deploying more resources into R&D, making sure that we have resilient communities, because New Zealand farmers have never been in denial that there is climate variation occurring, and it's vital that we make ourselves far more resilient. Chucking money into foresters' pockets, and I'm a forester, is not going to make us more resilient. We need to think about where we deploy our resources and make sure that the money hits the spot, and it won't be hitting the spot, the current ETS.
Your switch-off campaign starts the day that the policy comes into action. I mean, it's unusual timing, isn't it? What is there that you can actually do?
Well, look, there's a review period coming up next year, and we'll be lobbying like anything to make sure that the terms of reference for that review are well and truly known, that the timetable for implementation around that review is known. There's a whole lot of things to go under the bridge yet, but one thing's for sure, all New Zealanders paying tomorrow, farmers, sheep's back. The farmer, an average lamb farmer, is going to lose 12% of his profit if everything stays the same in this coming season. So it's a big deal. I
mean, you talk about everybody, and we know that farmers are obviously heavily involved in the penalties for this. There are a lot of people out there who are miffed, to put it lightly, about the prices increases. But there's also a lot of people who, A, think it's the right thing to do, or B, just couldn't care.
Well, I think the second category is most likely. In fact, I've done straw polls. 95% of the people I speak to haven't a clue what an ETS is. So successive governments haven't done a very good job of selling the concept. I mean, the government...
Or they have, I guess, if people don't know about it and they don't care about it, and it's just going underneath the radar.
Well, of course, it's government's job to make sure that bad news is minimised and good news is maximised, and they're doing the former.
I mean, the front page of the Herald today, we talk about petrol price increases, so forth, power price increases. Do you think that, I mean, your campaign starts tomorrow, do you think in a couple of months' time people are going to start really thinking about what is happening to the world that we live in and how the changes are affecting us?
Sure, that's likely, although no New Zealander really knows how that flow-through is going to happen. I mean, for instance, in my area, the Southern District Health Board has set an 18% increase in budget for its coal this year, 18%. So every taxpayer is going to pay that. It's not just the Southern taxpayers. It's not just me as perhaps a potential patient. Everyone's going to pay that. So it's affecting every little thing we do.
I guess that is the thing. We don't know what the flow-on effect will be. Government's probably saying it's at this end of the scale. You are picking it to be more at this end of the scale.
Sure, and people are saying farmers have had a special deal because we're deferred till 2050 for the agricultural emissions. Well, no, we're in here and now like every mum and dad and like every other business for our energy. The thing is, 64% of the New Zealand economy is generated out of the land-based industry, and I can say to you that 94 cents in every dollar is outside the farm gate at the end of a production season. So society in New Zealand is really using the farm gate dollar to a large extent, and so when we're getting 6 cents, you can hardly say that we're getting a subsidy.
You're putting pressure on the government. There was some speculation, a little bit of speculation a few weeks ago, that perhaps there might be some sort of extra political party set up. Is there still talk of that happening? Oh,
look, there's rumblings about that everywhere you go, and it doesn't matter. It's been going for the last in my entire life, actually. But since the MMP especially, there's been rumblings about that, and you all of a sudden get little parties pop up and say, we can take the farmer vote, we can do provincial New Zealand. Well, no one has yet, because we had one of the parties have quite a few farmers in it, and they were all basically put aside under the list vote system of the ACT Party recently. So,
you can't see it happening. Don, just quickly while I've got you sitting here, Fonterra vote today. Any thoughts on the way that'll go?
Well, I think they've done a very good job. The Fonterra board have done a very good job in getting this amongst the farmer feeling, and in fact I think they would be very disappointed if most farmers don't vote and vote positively toward it. I mean, they've done a job to get that result, so hopefully the worst thing that could happen is that farmers don't vote.
Exactly. Don, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Don Nicolson from Federated Farmers.